everyone, it's Cecilia Jane, and today we're going to be making a Copic Illustrator using a color palette generator. So there's this color generating a website called Colors. I'll pop it right here, but basically it'll generate a random color palette for you, and then it'll also give you the Copic I think it's just like the Copic code or the Copic color name for it, and then you can make an illustration if you're like a traditional artist using your Copics. So I thought that would be fun today. So basically we're gonna pick a random color palette and then I'll have to make an illustration just based off of that. So I of course do not have every Copic color, so with whatever color palette we're gonna get, we're just gonna try to match it as close as possible. So I thought it would be fun to quickly pick the colors like while I'm still on the screen, and then I can just screen share my laptop screen like up here for you guys. Okay, so I have my laptop right here, so we're just gonna pick the colors and you guys can see my reaction to them. So you basically just type in colors, and then it has two O's in the front, so just note that. I'll also post the link down below in the description. And then I did decide that as soon as I start the generator, I'm just gonna use that color palette. The only thing is I think this generates a lot of monochromatic palettes, which I kind of don't want to do. So if I get a monochromatic palette, I will refresh it until I don't get a monochromatic palette. Basically a monochromatic palette is this, so it's like something that's like all the same color, like various shades of pink or something like that. All right, so let's start the generator and see what we get. I'm just gonna hide all these things. Okay, so this is the color palette we got, and honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's pretty interesting. Lots of corals and then some blues. It kind of would have been fun to do something where there's like a bunch of different color families, because right now we kind of just got like a brown and then two pinks and two blues, but you know, this is a random color palette generator, so it will definitely challenge me a little bit, but hopefully in a good way. I'm of course gonna allow myself to use like black for like line art and for other things if I need it, and then white highlights as well. So those are the only exceptions, is like tools that are black and white. But yeah, I'm gonna make sure that I have colors similar. I should have colors that are similar. I got my little like Copic color thingy I printed out. So yeah, I'm gonna find the colors. I will meet you guys at the desk to start sketching. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, friends, so we are over here at the desk with all the supplies. I got all the markers, and then I also wanted to mention that I will be allowing myself to use the colorless blender, and that'll just help me get some lighter shades of the markers. So yeah. And then the only other thing is I did not have the Copic T7, so I just picked out kind of the least saturated brown I had. Like I wanted more of a gray brown, which obviously, as you can see, this is not a very gray brown, but it was the closest thing I had, so you know, we're working with what we got. I did have all the other markers, which I'm a little surprised by, but I'm happy. I'm happy that I had all the other markers. And then while I was like swatching these, okay, hi, excuse me, what, hi, hello. So the only other thing I was surprised by while I was swatching these is that the colors looked really different like on my screen than they did as swatches. Oh my goodness. So that's to be expected, right? I mean, obviously it's gonna look different on your screen. Computer, they looked a little different. Okay, come on. You need a hug? So this red color was like a little more, kind of more red than I thought it was, which is fine by me. I was honestly more happy with the color selection after I swatched them. And this blue, as you can see right there, kind of looks like a sky blue or a cobalt. Oh my goodness. Okay, excuse me. Can you sit down? So this blue obviously looks very different than it does. Okay, now we're just taking a bath. But yeah, so this blue really looked quite a lot different on the screen. It appeared more of like a sky blue or kind of a cobalt, whereas the swatch of the Copic markers kind of more of like a dark periwinkle, which, like I said, I am kind of more happy with this color selection than how it looks on the screen. Can you get down? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, she's just joining us for the video. So yeah, I'm really happy with the color swatches and I'm excited to work with it. So I think the next step is basically gonna be to make some sketches and designs. Nothing's really coming to my head right now, so we will definitely see. I got my paper already cut. It's under my cat. It's 5 by 7, so that's the size we'll be working with. And then I cut a few extra pieces of paper that were kind of just scraps, so I would have those to swatch on, because the colors are going to look a little different on my sketchbook than they do on this paper. But yeah, they look a little less saturated on the actual paper I'm using, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, it'll still look good. She wants to be the star. Do you want to be the star? Okay, so yeah, I set my cat aside because she's getting cat fur everywhere and being a little bit of a distraction. But yeah, I kind of mixed some of the colors. I might do a little bit more, and then we're just gonna start sketching up an idea. I'm not sure exactly if the sketch will be like super related to the color palette, if that makes sense. It might be inspired by it, but it might also just be a doodle that I want to create. I'm not sure. So yeah, let's start sketching. I'm not sure why, but lately I've been loving the idea of like little pixies and stuff. So I thought I'd kind of talk you guys through my sketching process. So as I said, I've been into pixies a lot lately. So basically I've just been putting them in environments where the scale, like how small they are, is really evident. So I was playing around with the idea of posing them on flowers and mushrooms and things like that. I just thought it would be fun. It doesn't really pertain to the color palette all that much, but I just thought it'd be a fun illustration. So yeah, that's kind of where the inspiration came from. Just liking to draw pixies and wanting to play with really showing the scale of how small like pixies are. So that's kind of what I came up with. Okay, so I've kind of narrowed down what I'm going to do. It's basically just going to be like a little pixie sitting on top of a flower with like, they're holding up their legs. And I think like, I don't know, I kind of, I always have this predicament, which is kind of a weird predicament, is like, unless I make the character like very like normal human in everyday life, I don't really know how to dress them. I mean, I could have some kind of like magical like bralette type thing, but I always just want to make them naked. Let me know if you have that problem down in the comments. I don't know. But I could just make them like kind of somewhat genderless, so they don't really have any bits and bobs, so that like nothing's really showing. But yeah, so maybe like that, and I think like their legs would be crossing that area anyway. I don't know. I'm probably reading into this too much. So yeah, I drew out these quick little thumbnails. I think I'm gonna have the wings down. Okay, so I drew these out, so I'm just gonna, this is on the paper I'll be using, so I'm just gonna like tape that into my sketchbook kind of, and then I'm gonna do a few different color studies of it and see what I think looks best. So this would be like kind of nighttime. Oh, I forgot about the brown. I don't know how I'm gonna incorporate the brown. I guess the brown could be the, I was imagining like the pollen bit like to be yellow, but obviously we don't have yellow. And some flowers have like brown pollen bits, so that could be cool. Do you guys ever just like, if you use Copics or like any kind of alcohol brush marker, if you accidentally open up the chisel, do you just stick with it because you're too lazy to change it? Let me know. This is kind of cool, and then they could have like blue accents on their like body, like the lips and stuff maybe. Kind of like this color for the sky, which obviously it's what you would do with sky color normally. Make the clouds pink. Kind of cool. I think this is really like what the color challenge is like kind of about, is just trying a bunch of different possibilities, because you don't know, like traditionally maybe you'd pick like normal colors. So I think that's part of the reason this challenge is good. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the red sky. I kind of just like the light blue as the sky. Kind of leaning towards this one. This kind of makes them look a bit like devilish a little bit. Kind of like this one. This would be like soft and cute, and then this would be like more serious looking, I feel like. But I kind of like the idea of these red flowers contrasting with the sky. Yeah, I think I like this one the best. I think this is the one I'm gonna go with. It just seems like it'll like look the best. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with that one. Alright, so I am back, and as you can see, I taped off the sides. I wanted it to have more of like a rough looking edge, just because I really like that look. It kind of depends on the piece though, but I thought it would work for this. So basically, like I got a piece of tape that was about this length, and then I ripped it in half and then just taped it in a way that the edges would be roughly about the same. So if you want to do that, that's how you do that. So technically I am going to be using a little bit of a different color. I'm going to be using a Prismacolor Kohl Erase in pink to sketch, but I basically erase it before I start, and I'm using pink anyway, so I feel like it's not that big of a deal. You're not really gonna see it. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this as opposed to using pencil, because sometimes pencil will still show up and look a little harsh, and this will look a little less harsh, so that's why I'm doing this. Oh, I definitely need to bring this whole thing up. All right, I'm gonna sketch the rest of this. I'll get back to you. My biggest predicament in editing is like trying to figure out what time lapses I should and shouldn't include, and if you guys even enjoy time lapses. So if you're at this point in the video, comment down below, do you like when I include time lapses with voiceovers and stuff, or would you rather have me just like skip to the next thing, or do you want more like live drawing bits shown? It's just that depending on what I do, the video will be longer or shorter, and I generally try to make my videos shorter, but it doesn't always work that way, so definitely let me know. Do you want more time lapses or less, or what do you prefer? Now I kind of want to give them some hair. Bit of a tricky choice. So maybe if their hair was like red or blue. Maybe I could do a mix of the purple and the blue so that it's like a little lighter. I think maybe I'll do that. Alright, so I sketched this entire drawing out. It's looking like that. I'm really happy with the drawing so far. So when I was drawing it, I was kind of thinking about how I think black line art would look pretty harsh, especially since all these colors are like decently light. But then I remembered that the colors like website also gave you the option for Prismacolor. So I wrote down the Prismacolor codes because I thought it'd be cool to do like some line art after I put the marker down and use like the colored pencils, but I could only find the exact same colors of these three, but I have a few that we could swatch and see if they're close enough. So basically I'm just gonna test out these few colors and make sure that they're close enough to the Prismacolors. They're slightly darker, I will say that's okay because they're gonna be line art. Hopefully you guys don't consider this cheating. I just think it'll make the illustration look better. Wow, and I can tell you right now, the blue they matched up with this does not match at all. Don't wanna shame them for the color picking. Look at that, those three colors are the ones that are the exact same, and they do not match at all. Like that does not match that, and that does not match that. So it's like, do I even follow the color codes? I don't know. Now I'm thinking maybe just pick ones out myself that I think would look the same. So maybe I'll just do that. And it took so long to go through those Prismacolors, I really don't want to have to go through all of them again. I guess I'm gonna have to, so I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back from digging in my Prismacolors, and I honestly think I found pretty good matches. The only one I did not find a match for was that blue, but here, I'll show you like again, they're not exactly. I'm pretty happy with what I was able to match though, because, you know, from what it had suggested, I think these are better. So I figured I don't really need that light blue because I'm just doing that really for the sky. So that's not really gonna matter, but that's how these match. Gotta pat myself on the back here, but I think they look pretty good, especially compared to like that's the blue it suggested. So that's probably what I'll use to do like a little bit more detail with like quote unquote line art. So that's what we will do. Quickly, I just wanted to say that I know the colors will differ depending on what kind of paper you're using, so do keep that in mind. And I do want to give the colors website a little bit of like slack because they did have to match all of these colors, which I don't know how many colors exactly they have on the website, but I'm sure it's a lot. My thoughts are maybe that they just looked at the colors on the website and matched them like that, maybe just not matched them in person. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, we'll just go with it. It's okay. They tried their hardest, so yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna lightly erase this and then we're gonna get to coloring. I'm just gonna use a kneaded eraser to like lightly pick up some of the color. It's either like the image like on the screen is either super dark and you can see it pretty well, but then it's really dark, or it's super light and you can't see it at all, so there's no win, but I guess if you can see it, that's probably the win, right? And honestly, this pink to the Prismacolor is pretty similar to the pink of the marker that I'll be using. The color on the barrel like does not match it accurately, so, but this pink is actually pretty close to the color of the Copic marker we'll be using, so if a little bit shows through, I think it's okay. So I'm gonna start with the sky first. All right, so I'm actually pretty nervous about adding this color on the skin because I'm like worried some of the details will go away, so thinking maybe just lightly with this red color pencil, I'm gonna like kind of really put some of these marks down a little bit harder. Okay, so I got all the flat colors down on the body. I think I'm gonna go back and kind of add some extra like shading and stuff with the markers, because I mean I'll add some more like with the color pencil, but You know, you can do a lot of like shading and stuff just with the markers and building them up, so that's what I'm going to do, a little bit of that. So I'm adding 2 coats to everything but the face because it's making everything tricky to blend when the first coat was just so light. So again, another quick little time lapse. Please let me know your opinion of time lapses and if you like the talking over or if you just prefer like some music. Yeah, I personally like time lapses a little bit. I mean, you get to see the process and like how the artist works, which I think is kind of cool. But I also feel like time lapses have kind of fallen out of style a little bit. Like they used to be really popular on YouTube and now not so much. But I think if it's just like a short bit in a video, that's a little different. I don't know, I really overthink things like this, but yeah, definitely let me know, please. But yeah, so here I am just filling in everything with the different markers. I did end up making the hair like a dark periwinkle, but I used the other colors as well to shade and highlight the hair. So it's a mixture of kind of like that red, the dark periwinkle, and the blue. And then I also fine-tune it with some color pencil. And yeah, I just keep adding colors, filling in spots. I decided to do a red sun, which I thought was kind of cool. Looking back, it could have been like a blue moon as well, but maybe they're on like a different planet or something, which is cool. I don't know. Okay, so I think I'm going to start adding some like line work with the color pencils. I'm really happy with how this illustration is going so far. Thus far, I mean, there's still time for it to go sour. I hope not, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep adding line art and stuff. So this is a bit random, but I thought it would be a fun time to kind of talk about some of my different social medias. The social media that I am probably on the most is Instagram. So if you've never checked out my Instagram and you watch me on YouTube, be sure to check out my Instagram. I'm super active on there. Well, as far as what I'm active on, I'm most active on there. I post pretty regularly, and I also post my story a lot of behind the scenes and polls and things like that. I also want to talk about my Patreon, which a lot of you guys know about if you watch my videos. But yeah, that's a great way to support me and get some cool rewards. I also have an Etsy where I post a lot of my product. I have washi tape, stickers, pins, etc. And then there's also some really new exciting products coming like keychains, zines, notebooks. I've got a lot of things in the works. So definitely go check out my Etsy, give it a favorite or something like that. But yeah, be sure to check out my social medias, links in the description. Okay, so this is kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to decide if I should add black. Like, I feel like there's some places that could benefit from it, but then it's kind of like once you add that black, you kind of have to like add it in a lot of places, and I just don't want it to look too out of place. So originally I was gonna do like the parts of the character where you would normally make like really pink, like the hands, the elbows, the shoulders, things like that. I was originally gonna do it blue, and I did do it blue, but now I'm adding a little more red, and I really like how that looks. I kind of want to do something with the wings. Like, I think I'm going to go in and add some like white highlights. And I'm still undecided if I should add black line art, because sometimes like I'll make a piece, I'll add black line art and like I'll regret it, and then other times I'm like, wow, that's just what it needed. So it's like hard to say. It'd be a little tricky too, doing it over top of color pencil. I mean, it could be done, it would just kind of mess up my markers. Maybe I could just get a black color pencil. Maybe I'll do that. Does anyone else always feel like they're like missing something when they don't do line art? I don't know, it's probably a bad habit because I feel like it looks fine. Alright everyone, so this is basically what we are working with. I think I'm pretty much done. There's parts that I'm not super happy about, but overall I would say I am pretty happy with it. But I feel like that's every video. I'm like, you know, there's some parts, but it's okay. Yeah, so now we're just gonna go in and add some like white highlights. It's just some select spots, just to make things pop a little more and stuff. So I'm just gonna be using some Holbein acrylic gouache for those. So I don't know about you guys, but adding highlights is like adding the icing on the cake. I love adding highlights. I feel like it really just makes the piece come together in so many different ways. Especially with the wings, I feel like that really just took the illustration up a notch. I kind of Didn't really know what I was doing when I was adding the highlights on the wing, but I'm happy with how they turned out. But yeah, I love how highlights look. They're kind of my favorite part of like a piece. Alrighty, so I think I'm done, so we're just gonna peel off the tape now. Alright everyone, so this is the final illustration that we came up using these 5 random colors. I'm honestly really happy with how it turned out. Of course there are things that I could fix about it, but that's with like everything I create. I really like the wings. I kind of just winged the wings. But yeah, I like the transparent quality of them. I think that looks nice. Definitely let me know what you think. And yeah. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what's your favorite color palette or combination of colors. And if you like the illustration I made, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I am trying to post weekly. I didn't post last week, but I apologize. I'm gonna still try to post every week. Be sure to hit that bell notification button because I am trying to post more regularly and I'll let you know anytime I do post. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye guys. As always, I like to thank my awesome Patreons who support me as an artist. They get some awesome rewards in return, like prints, stickers, sometimes zines. They also get their name at the end of my videos, so if this sounds like something that interests you, check out the link in the description.